Hello, I'm Ro, and today I am doing another kind of book review thing. So nearly 2 months ago I ordered 3 books and it took forever for them to get here. Like, the shipping time on these books were truly insane, and I think about 2 weeks ago I finally got them. And I decided to try and make some kind of video regarding each one of these books. And also I'm not allowed to start reading the next one until I do a review for the first one. So, the book I'm talking about today is Rebel Belle by Hawkins. Rebel Belle is the first book in a series. I think it's gonna be a trilogy. I know the second book is called Miss Mayhem and I'm not really sure when it's out. This book was so sweet and made me happy, and it was really enjoyable. The story is about a girl named Harper Price. She is 16, 17, I think. Harper is a Southern belle. She is a homecoming queen and she does all these kinds of activities and she's involved in basically every group ever. Really driven person. On the night of homecoming, Harper Price, expected to be homecoming queen, shows up and realizes that she doesn't have any lip gloss on. And that's kind of, you know, unacceptable. So she goes to the bathroom to put on some lip gloss that she borrowed from a friend. Suddenly, the janitor comes running into the bathroom and locks the door. And she's obviously kind of shocked. The janitor has been injured and there is somebody outside the door. And as the janitor dies, he kisses Harper. And then the door gets broken down and in comes her history teacher wielding a sword. And completely unexpected, she fights him. She automatically just knows what to do and she fights him and defeats him. And this is where everything starts. The janitor passed on his power as a paladin to Harper, making her sort of a warrior guardian person who needs to look after somebody, except he died very suddenly and she doesn't know anything that's going on, so she needs to try and figure it all out. And of course the person she has to guard is this guy that she really doesn't like. His name is David Stark. He's a hipster nerd who worked on the school newspaper and has been Harper's enemy since kindergarten, pretty much. If you don't want any more spoilers than that before reading the book, you should probably leave. I recommend reading the book. Like I said, it was very fun and just made me kind of happy. Okay, spoiler part starts in 3. That's not how you count. 3, 2, 1, now. So first of all, I learned very early on in this book that I cannot for my life do a southern accent. I kept trying, but it didn't work. I went into this book kind of expecting to roll my eyes at Harper and be frustrated by her as a person, because I was prepared for her to be this very girly, flamsy girl, and and actually there wasn't a single moment where I really disliked Harper. So to point out a few things that I was wondering about, it's David's parents. Now, he's grown up his entire life thinking that his parents are dead, and when he asks Sailor about his parents, she says that they are dead. Except that's never explained. All that she says is that they went to get him and that she used mind control to make his mother hand him over. But how did they die? That was never explained. I was also kind of really expecting there to be something else about Harper's sister's death. It feels like it because it's sort of the things that are mentioned. It seems like this is kind of out of character for her to, like, get drunk and drive. So I was kind of really expecting there to appear to be something, and I think there still might be in the next books. I love how much Harper just kind of liked the fighting and how excited she got about it. I think it's so funny how when she decides to try out her powers and she, like, does this handstand on top of the fence, and, like, she mentions how her skirt, like, falls down, because, I don't know, it feels like such a thing that just be overlooked. Like, that's how skirts work. If you're upside down, the skirt will fall over your head. I really like how when Harper was trying to figure out this superpower thing, she did, like, research by watching superhero movies. The car chase scene, there was just so much things that was funny about that. And I just keep being like, she, like, dives in through the window and, like, jumps into the front seat. And I'm like, how the hell did she do that? I'm like, do you know the size of the car and, like, going in through the window? She must have, like, done a flip or something, and I am very impressed with that movement. She's like, keeps shouting at David, like, scooch, 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 and he's just, like, trying, like, not to touch her. Also, I'm not sure how he's supposed to be able to move, because she actually mentions that she has her foot on top of his foot to push down the gas pedal. When she mentions her great aunts, I just sort of had to like look over at my bookshelf where I have Beautiful Creatures book, and I was like, is this having 3 great aunts a like southern thing? Because that's what I'm getting from this, because Ethan has 3 great aunts and Harper has 3 great aunts. That's not something I associate with that. Having 3 great aunts, it's a requirement. When she's trying to hit David and she can't, and it's just sort of like, she tries to hit him and her hand stops, and she like tries again, and with the other hand, and she's just like standing there with both her hands on the side of his face and just can't hit him. And she just hits Brandon and she's trying it out, like, can I hit everybody? And then she's like, but Brandon is kind of an annoying person, so maybe it's this like really innocent people I can't hit. So she's like, throws a pencil at a girl in class. The teacher's just like, Harper, did you just throw a pencil at her? And she's like, no, it slipped. Harper is not very good with coming up with excuses on the fly. I thought the pen thing was kind of like, what is it gonna prove in a way? So I like the fact that she later on tries to like throw a rock at David and it stops mid-air. If she had thrown a pen at him, it would probably have stopped too. Wonder to what degree that works. Like, she like has his phone and tries to toss it to him. Will it just stop and drop in the middle of the air? Because that could be bad. When David and Harper goes to this scholarship interview, and it's sort of like, well, we all know that it's a trap. They know it's a trap, we know it's a trap, everybody knows this is probably a bad idea, but they also sort of can't not go. I also get that. Like, they need to check it out and see what's happening. They should probably tell Sailor about it, though. It would maybe have been safer. And so they meet Blythe, and it's this big fight, and she tells them about the plans, and they take her and they put her in the backseat of the car, and neither one of them sits in the backseat with her. She has just told you about her ability to poof out of places, and you just leave her there, and then you're surprised when she disappears. The whole group of evil people, I can't even remember what they were called, and I couldn't really pronounce it before, so I'm not even gonna try. I feel like we haven't gotten them very much explained. Like, there's this group of people who, like, they are in charge of the oracles, or they take in the oracle, or they want to use the oracle. I feel it's very vague. The one thing that I feel like sort of explains this is this: in the day before the cotillion, she's sitting at Sailor's house, and she is reading this book talking about all of this, and it's sort of like in the middle of a thing, like they have just talked about something, and then stops and she continues reading, and then they start talking again. So it's this really short paragraph that just sort of gets thrown in there. Efforts were said to have magical powers of their own, but many people thought they were simply draining the power from the oracles themselves, and then it breaks there. So I'm thinking that's it. They like pull the powers from the oracles and to give themselves power, and that's why they want to kill a male oracle, because they're said to be weaker and there wouldn't be as much power. That would also explain why they would be so happy with Blythe's idea of making David supercharged. And that would also explain why they'd be willing to go through with this, even though they know how dangerous it is. If they like, well, she says she can handle it, she can probably handle it, and we'd want this power. That's what I think. I hope we get to understand this group better, because I really don't see what their sort of goal is or what they do, really. I was a little bit unsure about Ryan and Harper's relationship, kind of almost throughout the entire thing. I liked Ryan, he seemed like a pretty nice guy. I just didn't really get their relationship too well. Mostly what frustrated me about it was how Ryan seemed to kind of just want to make out all the time, and be sort of frustrated with Harper when she didn't. Like, she wanted to talk, or she was preoccupied, and it was like she insulted him every time. And I'm like, okay, I get it, you want to make out with your girlfriend, but maybe that doesn't have to be everything. Maybe you don't have to like seem pissed at her because she doesn't. That sort of frustrated me. And there were several points, particularly when they were at the movies, where I just kind of like, I wish I could be there and just go up to them and be like, guys, this relationship has run its course, and you two would both be much happier if you just end it now and continue on as friends and start seeing other people. So because I saw that very early on, I liked the way the breakup happened. I like, first of all, the fact that it was Ryan who said it. Harper is so kind of in denial about the fact that there is truly something wrong there, and that this relationship isn't gonna be able to be fixed. And so I like the fact that we got him to be the one to say it, so we knew that he also saw it, that he also understood that this relationship wasn't working, and that he just kind of says, like, it's over, isn't it? and it's just kind of, it's not this huge dramatic thing, it's just sort of a statement. More like, this has been over for a while, we just haven't realized it. I can't recall exactly now, but I believe that Harper, when she goes inside for the cotillion and she talks to David and she thinks about the things that Ryan said about the two of them liking each other, she doesn't do anything about it because she knows that it's too early since her breakup. It's been 15 minutes. She wouldn't do that. So I like the fact that it's David who kisses her, and I like the fact that I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have done that if it wasn't the kind of we might very well not live through the night kind of thing. Because whilst it is a blow to Ryan that he just breaks up with her and she gets together with David, I feel like they both had well intentions with it. Like, it would have taken longer if the situation hadn't been so dire. And I like the fact that they are together, that they weren't just like, we can't do this, it's too recent. They seem like reasonable people, most of them. There was this post up on Tumblr the other day that I saw talking about how there are similar ways of writing throughout fanfiction and how it sort of becomes its own way. I will link that post in the description because as I was reading through that and people talking about different things that they associate with how fanfiction are written, I realized that I think that's partially why I like this book, because it's written in a way that I find kind of familiar from fanfiction. It's very easy to understand Harper as a character, I think. I feel like we get very flowing conversations that work well, and we get to see her thoughts in a way that really it's understandable. It's the way she stops herself in the middle of the thought process sometimes, like when she's talking about her sister and she just stops herself like, nope, I don't want to think about that, let's move on. It tends to sort of annoy me when they try to like censor the curse words in a book. Like, they want the characters to swear, but they also don't, so they do something sort of in between. And it frustrated me the first time it happened. And then the next time, Brandon says, we had to park way down the effing road. And then it continues, okay, I should probably mention right there that Brandon used the real word, but this is my story, so I'm cleaning it up a little. And at that I was kind of like, okay, I can accept it. And it becomes a thing throughout also that Harper doesn't swear. She doesn't like using those words, and she goes after people also verbally. She's not just like censoring what we get to read. She also often tells off the character who swears that, don't do that, that's rude. I have read a lot of things where people try to work around these things, particularly in YA, because it's sort of on the border of people do swear, people do talk about sex, people are inappropriate, but this is aimed toward teenagers. They're not quite adults, not quite children, so we can't, you know, make it too clean, but we can't make it too ill either, so it becomes some sort of awkward middle ground, and I liked how this was handled. At the end, at Cotillion, I was actually really not seeing the whole punch thing coming, and I feel stupid in retrospect. I feel a little bit stupid. I should probably have remembered that. I've seen several other people's reviews and them being annoyed with Harper and David for not figuring this whole thing out. Like, we knew the punch was going to be involved in somehow, and Blythe had mentioned how she put in the mind control thing in at her work, and they were like, how did you not see that coming? And I'm like, I didn't see it coming, so I get it. It's going to be really interesting to see how it works out with Bee being a paladin, and I'm a little bit scared that she's going to get like brainwashed by Blythe and the FO's people, and she's going to come back and she's going to like trying to kill everybody. I don't want that. When they found Sailor and Ryan in the kitchen and like Ryan's holding her hand, and I was kind of immediately, oh god, she gave him her powers, he's a mage, and like shit just got way more complicated. So all in all, I really liked this book. It was very sweet and very nice and very fun to read, and I'm looking forward to read the next one. And I definitely recommend it if you like action and fantasy and drama in general. Like I said, it's not as girly as I had expected it to be, so I think most people can probably enjoy this, even if you think the pink cover and this whole thing looks very non-you. I think you could probably like this book. Thanks for watching, hope you like this video. Bye! I'm trying to remember shit. I waited too long to do this video. I can't remember everything properly.